About 7 weeks ago, we received chicks and ducklings from Murray McMurray Hatchery, and we were really excited about getting those chicks and ducklings. But now the time has passed, and they have grown, and they are ready to be moved out of the brooder. However, the only problem that we have is I don't have their home, their future chicken tractor built yet. The idea is up here, but it's not in the reality and the physical for them to use. Over the years, I've built all kind of different chicken tractors here on my homestead. I didn't grow up homesteading or building or learn how to build, so I had to learn a lot through trial and error. And I made a lot of clunkers along the way. So I'm going to try to take the lessons that I've learned through the clunkers of what worked and what didn't work, as well as looking at some plans online. I do want to mention that a lot of the plans online, a lot of them aren't really good. They make them look really pretty and really neat, but they really aren't functional for a real homestead or a farm. So the plans that I found from Justin Rhodes are really good. So I'm taking what I have learned through mine and just kind of adapting it and modifying his plans for a chicken tractor. And as I mentioned earlier, the idea is up here for it, but it's not made yet. And the chicks and ducklings really have to go outside. So recently we brought over one of my clunkers that I made in the past, and we just started transitioning some of the healthiest looking birds outside. Since this is the colder time of year, it can be a little trickier raising ducklings and chicks just because of the colder temperatures being a little harder on their bodies. So one of the things that we have been doing before moving them outside is just gradually using the heat lamp less and taking away the heater and just letting them get used to the natural temperatures around, as well as let them develop their full feathers. Alrighty, this is one of my older chicken tractors. I'm getting ready to build some new ones, but right now I really need to get the ducklings introduced to being outside. So we're just gonna have to use this one for now. It should do just fine. It's a little heavier to move around. It's one of our older ones, one that I was just learning to build chicken tractors. And it doesn't have hardware cloth on the sides. It has chicken wire, which predators can get through easier. We haven't had problems with predators getting into our chicken tractors. And I think one of the biggest reasons why is we do have dogs on the property, and they discourage predators from coming on, as well as deer from going into the garden. But let's go get some ducklings. Okay, so I'll get them out and hand them to you, and you can just take it right over to the chicken tractor. So we're just noticing that on the chicken tractor here, there's a gap right here in the chicken wire. Let me show you. So they could get out real easy and something could get in real easy. So what I'm gonna do is use my staple gun here and secure it on for now. Just gonna have to climb right in here with him. And after that, I gave them some extra insulation by raking up some leaves and just giving them a nice bedding to also keep the heat inside the chicken tractor, as well as if we took a tarp and put it over where the wire is, just to kind of keep air from flowing in and keeping them cold. And we also added a lamp, seeing if they were huddled around the heat. That would show me signs that, hey, they're still cold. But you know what? They weren't huddled around the heat lamp at all. So we got rid of that, and they seem to be adjusting fairly well. Next, Selah and I added some of the chicks in there. But before Selah added them all in, she wanted to play with a few in the yard. So now the pressure was really on. I had some ducklings and chicks that were outside in this clunker that probably was a little risky having them outside, as well as some other ducklings and chicks that were in the brooder that were just ready to come outside and experience life in nature, in an environment, on the homestead. So it really gave me the extra prod to really get this chicken tractor out of my head and into actualization on our homestead. So one of the things that I was modifying on the chicken tractor was I wanted to make sure that it was able to go in the garden and go down a row of just so the chickens and ducklings could go in there and just add some nice manure, and we could just bring them through and they could eat up any vegetation that's there. So I measured out and I decided on 5 feet wide is how big I wanted my chicken tractor to be. So it was going to be 5 feet by 8 feet long. And I made it 5 feet so that way it would cover any of our 30-inch wide garden beds, as well as go over on the sides to the walkways, which are about 16 to 18 inches. So I was like, this is the measurement I'm going with. So we started rolling with it. So after I nailed down the dimensions that I wanted for the chicken tractor, I got to work right away. We used cedar wood for the frame of the chicken tractor, and using cedar is a little more costly, but it is resistant to rot as well as repels insects. So cedar is a great one to use, but like I said, it does cost significantly more than using any of the pine woods that are out there. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't have a lot of background in building, and I must say building is not my favorite thing in the world. I know there's some other YouTubers that they're really good at it and they really enjoy doing it, but it's not my favorite thing. So this is not a how-to video on how to build, nor do I do a lot of how-to videos. I'm not sure if I do any on how to build or construct things. So keep that in mind. So as I was ripping my cedar 2x4s for our frame, Lacie was recycling the metal that we had on some of our clunkers. She was spray painting them and getting some nice color that we're going to recycle this metal and use for our chicken tractor.
Let's just sit here every night. There's no reason to deny. Nobody will rescue us now. Everyone who's gone on here have lost their hope and felt the fear, trying to get a hold of the moment.
So after I had all my pieces cut and just laid them out all on the ground, just to kind of visualize it and see it coming together, it was pretty exciting. And along the way, Selah was right there with me, measuring and learning to drill, and this was a neat homeschool activity of building this chicken tractor together as a family. So after I did my layout, next I moved all the items inside our greenhouse to construct the chicken tractor, because with the temperatures being up and down and with being cold outside, I wanted to make sure that we had more of a comfortable temperature to be working on this chicken tractor. Alright, Selah, I want you to mark a couple pieces for me. I want you to mark them at 56 3/4, right there. Mark it for you. This is 56 1/2. This is 56 1/4. So the half is, this is 56 and this is 57. Half is right there in between. This is 3/4 right there. So let's mark that for me. Can you do it?
Yep.
So finally we finished the chicken tractor. And I keep calling it a chicken tractor, but it's really going to be a duck tractor. And the brooder that we used is a chicken tractor, so we're going to bring that outside for the chicks. But the next question was, were the ducklings even going to like their new home? Next we moved them all outside. We put the ducklings in their new duck tractor and the chicks in the clunker for now. And then we later on move the brooder outside and put the chicks inside the brooder, back to conversion of a chicken tractor.
What are we gonna do?
We're gonna catch some ducklings and put them in our new chicken tractor. Yeah! I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. We're gonna get the last
Hold that there. Yep. All right. Hammer, you ready? There we go. There we go. It's like they just keep coming out. It's like I'm pulling chickens out of my hat instead of a rabbit out of the hat. I just keep pulling them out. It is so nice to see them all enjoying their new homes. Outside with nice sunlight, fresh air, expressing their duckness and their chickenness. It's just so nice to see them outside. Well, make sure you stay tuned for their adventures as they continue to grow and develop to be full mature birds here on the homestead, as well as we're starting the renovation on our yurt. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Well, I still have some more work cut out for me, because right behind me, where the ducklings and chickens is all the pine shavings, chicken poop, duck poop, all together, manure that we can recycle. But right now, it's pretty smelly. But I guess I need to get to work on that. Well, that's it for now. As always, be strong, grow on. Fit Farmer out. See you next time.